Good morning, children. Welcome to the online classes for the 9th standard of 11th period. So, in the last class, we have discussed the point related to our constitution. In our constitution, we have reached the point related to the preamble of the constitution. So, in the preamble of the constitution, last at the end, we have left some few points related to the preamble of the constitution. Then after we are going to see the points related to the silent features of our constitution, and it is going to be called as the written and the lengthy constitution. But before going to discuss this point, I want to discuss some points left from the preamble of the constitution. So in the preamble of the constitution, we are going to see the points, that is, we the Indian are going, we the Indian citizens. So one point is written in the constitution, that is, we the citizens of India. The Indian constitution has framed by the Indians, and it strives to fulfill the dreams of the Indians. So what it points is, we the Indians means all the people belongs to the India are one, and they are having the one right, and the actual aim of this constitution want to fulfill the dreams of the each person of the country. It may be the poor or it may be the rich person. That is the first point. And second point is sovereign. We the people belongs to the India. We become sovereign. It means we become independent. India is a sovereign country and not under the control of any other country now. It is independent in the world. Now, it is not a party to any bloc. It is not supported to the USA nor USSR, but it is the own, having its own foreign policies, and it has followed the non-allied policy and also followed the 5-year plan. So, India is totally different from the other countries of the world. So, that's why India is going to be called as the sovereign country. Next, India is also developed or implemented, which the country has achieved the internal and the external affairs with the internal state and the international countries. Now, next point is the socialist. India has also followed the point related to the socialist. What is the meaning of socialist here? It has developed the point to show the equality in the society. It wants to promote the people belongs to the India for the purpose of developing the giving the welfare to the common people of India. So, for that, India has followed the directive principles of state policies, and it also followed some amendments to get the changes, the rights needed for the Indian societies. So that we are going to see in the constitution through the 42nd amendment done in the 1976 when Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister for India. That also we are going to see in the preamble of the constitution was added in the end of the part. You can see the page number 98. There one page is given. In that page, last end, we are going to see the points written in the preamble of the constitution related to the 1976. So, it are related to the socialist. And last but second, that is secular. India is also going to be called as the secular. Why? It has been incorporated in the constitution through the 42nd amendment in 1976. No religion has been given the status of national religion. No, any religion is considered to be the national religion. It is the point belongs to their personal affairs or the personal matter, but no one is considered as the national religion. So many religions are there in India. So it all are related to their personal life. So another point is, so India is a secular country. Citizens have the liberty to practice any religion they desire. So today we are going to see the people from the Islam are converting toward the Hindus, and Hindu people are converting toward the Islam. Many people are converting toward the Buddhism. Many people are converting toward the Christianity. All this freedom was given in the constitution according to the what? Secularism. That we are going to see in the Indian constitution. And the last very important point we are going to see in the constitution or the preamble of the constitution is democratic republic. India is to be called as the democratic and the republic, because securing the happiness of the everyone is the responsibility of the government. Is in a democracy, problems are solved through the discussion. Selected or elected by the people belongs to the particular assemblies, and these are solved these are solved with the some 5-year plans. You know that any problems related to the India, that to be solved by the people selected to the these assemblies, and that should be solved with the 5-year plans made by the government. So that time universal adult census was made, and that fact our head of the state is going to be called as the President of India, and who is to be elected for a period for the 5 years, proves that our country is going to be called as the republic country. So India has followed the democratic country. India is to be going to call as the republic country. So next point we are going to learn in this chapter is the silent features related to our constitution, and it is also going to be called as the, so in this silent features of our constitution, India is going to be called, or the Indian constitution is going to be called as the written and the lengthy constitution. So written and the lengthy constitution means, so Indian constitution is to be considered as a written constitution. It was written in the book. You can take the example of British constitution. It is going to be called as a unwritten constitution. It is not in the written form. So every point, every article belongs to this constitution are in the written form, and it is also going to be called as the lengthy constitution. Why it is going to be called as the lengthy constitution? Because number of articles, number of things we are going to see in our constitution that we are not finding in the world constitution. You can take the example of American constitution. You can take the example of Japan constitution. These constitutions have completed within the 5 to 6 pages. But our constitution having more than 395. At the time of when it was written, it was having the 395, not the pages. It was the articles, because India is going to be called as a vast country having many problems. To solve these problems, many things were written in the constitution. So it was written in the how many pages? That is 395 articles we are going to see when it was written. But present day we are having more than 465 articles in the Indian constitution. So see the points given in your textbook. So our constitution is going to be called as a very lengthy constitution. Why? Because the functions of the organs of the government, like legislative, executive, judiciary, are delineated in the constitution, are all detail given in the constitution. How was the judiciary system we have to follow? How was the executive system we have to follow? How was the legislative system we have to follow in the country? All points we are going to see in the Constitution of India. And even the points added related to the public rights, that is fundamental rights and the fundamental duties should be followed by the Indian citizens. So we know we the common people belongs to India should go with the fundamental rights and the fundamental duties presented by the Indian Constitution that originally we are finding in the written form. So at the time of when Constitution was presented in India, that time we are finding it is consist of 22 chapters. How many? 22 chapters and 8 schedules. How many? 8 schedules and 395 articles we are going to see when it was presented in the 1950. But afterward, later, it was changed according to the situation in the country because the power is there to make the changes in the constitution. We can take the example of present day only. We come to the Kashmir point. So 1 year back, last year only, we are going to see the 371 Act was changed in the Kashmir side, and Kashmir state was divided into parts. So know that before, earlier we are finding the 29 states. Now present day we are finding the 28 states and the 9 union territories. Earlier, before only the 7 union territories. Why? Because the article has changed. So today we are finding instead of 22, today we are finding 25 chapters are there, 12 schedules are there, and 465 articles, more than 465 articles we are going to see in the Indian Constitution. That's why it is going to be called as the written and the lengthy Constitution. So next point is partially flexible and partially rigid Constitution. So Indian Constitution is going to be called as the partially flexible and partially rigid Constitution. So the next point related to the partially flexible and the partially rigid Constitution. Why Indian Constitution is going to be called as the partially flexible and the partially what? Partially rigid Constitution. So one side you can see the Constitution which can be easily amended. It was written in the easy languages, the easy form. So it is called as the flexible or the simple Constitution. So every person can understand the point related to the Constitution. Other side, we are going to see the Constitution that have special procedures, special points for the amendment are called as the rigid Constitution or a complicated Constitution because it is written in the long form or the lengthy process. That's why it is easy to understand, but it is rigid to see the Constitution. That's why it is going to call as a partially flexible and partially rigid. It is in the simple form and it is going to be called as a complicated one. Complicated one. So both systems we are going to see in this Indian Constitution. And after we are going to see this Constitution neither to be called as the flexible, neither to called as the rigid because it is not that much flexible and it is not that much rigid Constitution, but it is a simple and the complicated Constitution we are going to see in India. So the next point is Indian Constitution is going to be called as the parliamentary form of government. You know that Indian Constitution is going to be called as a parliamentary form of government. Why it is going to be called as a parliamentary form? Because our constitution provides for a parliamentary form of government in the country. How? By the sovereign power, the power given by the constitution, independent power, is vested in the nation for the elected or the electing the people for the parliament. Now, the executive responsibility and the legislative responsibility are both we are going to see in the central level and the state level. The cabinet shall be in the power as long as it enjoys the confidence of the legislative assemblies. So this type of systematic form of government was going to be seen in the parliamentary system. That system was written in the constitution. As soon as it loses the confidence of the legislative, it has to be resign the post. You know that some point is given, so they may be selected for the 5 years, but if they are losing their confidence, they are unable to control the government, they can resign from this post. That right was given in the constitution. So next form is republic system of the government. Republic system followed in the constitution. So you know the meaning of republic. So the constitution has declared India is going to be called as the republic country, and the head of the country is indirectly elected by the citizens of India. Why it is going to call as the republic? Because every person who coming towards the government side, it was elected indirectly from whom? From the citizen of India. You know the one vote is important for the getting the members for the parliament. That power is given to the common people of India. That is called as the republic system. So each person having its own right to vote for any candidate, and that candidate is coming toward the parliament or any legislative assembly. That is called as the what? Republic system was followed in India. Next, so in India, the president in the constitution, he is going to be called as the head of the state, and he is elected. This president also going to be elected from the houses. So India, the president in the constitutional head of the state, he is to be elected. So that's why India is going to be called as the republic country. Another point we are going to see, India is going to be called as the following the federal system in the country. What system it is going to follow? Federal system. So what is the meaning of federal system? Federal system. So here the meaning of federal system means our constitution says us provides for a federal system of government because country consists of different languages, caste, races, and geographical regions. So in India, we are not finding all the 28 states are having the same languages. All the 28 states are not having the same color of people, same type of languages, same type of culture, same type of what? Same type of system followed in the any government. That all, and the geographical regions also different from the one state to the another state. So according to that, the Indian government has followed the federal system in the country to solve the problems of India. So what is federal system? Administrative powers are shared by the central and the state government. So there are two types of government we are going to see in the Indian parliament. So one, the central government is look after toward the all states of the country, And every state, there also we are finding the administration, that state administration is going to look after only for their states. So that is called as the federal system of government. Two types of government we are going to see in India. So according to the central list has 100 subjects, state list has 61 subjects, and the concurrent list has the 52 subjects related to the federal system of the country. Now, next point that is going to be called as a very important point, that is fundamental rights were given in the constitution. Fundamental rights. So what is the fundamental rights? So every human beings related to India having the equal rights according to the rules given by the constitution. So here the point related to the fundamental rights. What the point is? Fundamental rights. So fundamental rights are given to the Indian common people or the Indian citizens. That we are going to see in the Indian Constitution. So what is the fundamental rights? The rights that the Constitution has given to the people are called as the fundamental rights. No law of any government, central or maybe the state or any organization can deny these rights. So any states are not accepting the rights given to the common people, or they are not going against to the rights given to the common people. Every state is following the same rights, every central government is following the same rights, and any organization related to the public department are following the same rights related to the common people of India. Second point is the fundamental rights are taken away from the endage. The citizen can directly appeal to the High Court or directly toward the Supreme Court. The next right was given to the Indians was, so if any problems they are finding related to the fundamental rights provided by the Constitution, who are going against this right, the every citizen having the power to make case related to this particular right toward the High Court and the Supreme Court presented for the state and the central level. So all these points we are going to see. The rights are listed in the third part of the Constitution. These all rights we are going to see. Fundamental rights we are finding in the which article? Third part of the Indian Constitution we are going to see. The rights are presented related to the fundamental rights. So next point also discussed in this Constitution, that is fundamental duties. If the Constitution has given the rights to the common people, but it has given the fundamental duties also. It has to follow the duties with the nation. That is fundamental duties. So we have to be follow the fundamental duties. It is our duty to respect the nation by following the duties. So what are the responsibilities given by the Indian Constitution to the common people by giving the fundamental rights? That is called as the fundamental duties. Now, 11 fundamental duties have been presented in the or delineated in the A part of the 4th chapter under the clause of 51A or 51 article of our Constitution shows that there was a point related to the fundamental duties. Which point? Fundamental duties. That we are going to see in the Indian Constitution. So, next point is, though the 86th amendment, so last point we have seen the 46th amendment, 42 amendment which was came in the 1976. In the same way, we are finding the another point related to the 86th amendment related to the fundamental duties. It was presented in the 2002. So, though the 86th amendment of the Constitution 2002, it has made the duty of parents to provide the compulsory education for the children. So, according to the change, it was changed in the which period? At the time of Vajpayee government. So, 2002. At the time of Vajpayee government, we are going to see the amendment was changed to develop the compulsory education for the children belongs to the India, and one duty was added, that is the compulsory information presented to the parents related to the India to give compulsory education for their children. That is the one of the duty followed, and the children between the age of 6 to 14 years. 6 to 14 years. So, you know that present we are finding the RTI, right to RTE, sorry, right to education. Right to education was started in the 2002 according to the article or the duty added in the year of 2002 at the time of Vajpayee government. That is called as the fundamental duties. From that we are finding earlier only the 10 duties were there. Now present we are finding how many duties are there? There are 11 fundamental duties we have to follow by the Indian citizen. So next point we are going to see in this part is directive principles and of state policy. So what is the directive principles of state policy we have been? It means some principles are followed to give the direction to the Indian citizens or toward the government administration of India. It has been incorporated in the 4th schedule. The 4th schedule of the Constitution, and these principles has been adopted in the form of Constitution in the India. They are on the basis of the establishment of social and the economic equality in the country. So, what is the aim of directive principle policy? The aim of directive principle policy to show the development of social and economic. They want to show the equality among the social and the economic status, and they are also the basic principles required for the administration of the country. To maintain the equality in the administration of the government belongs to the India. That all directions we are going to see in the directive principles of the state policy presented in the Constitution. Now, at the government cannot be questioned by the court of justice at any time. So, another directive principles we are going to see. You can take the example of MLA. One of the MLA or one of the MP belongs to your constituency. He is not having the permission to involve in the matter related to the High Court and the Supreme Court, because he is only having the power toward the assemblies, not toward the justice. So, justice are completed by the High Court and the Supreme Court judges. That all directions we are going to see in the directive principles of state policies. That power are presented in this Constitution framed by the government of India. So, all this should be followed by the Indian citizens or the officers related to the Indian organizations or the public sector. So, next point is independent and centralized judiciary system we are going to see in the Indian Constitution. What type of independent and the centralized judicial system? Even we are having the independent powers and also having the centralized powers. That point we are going to learn in the next point.